All right.
Sylvia will be here momentarily, but we'll go ahead and get started since we have 3 people at this stage of the game. The first one that we're going to jump right into is data governance, storage, and security. It's 8:30.1. This needs to be reviewed annually, and we have Gary with us to kind of take a look and offer any insights that we might have.
There she comes.
Thank
We
you.
just started.
I mean, I personally think we can leave it alone, it's
I was
fairly
gonna say, it
new.
doesn't look like there's any changes, right?
Nothing green.
We adopted it just over a year.
This is just an
It's just,
annual
it has to be
review.
annual
Yeah.
reviewed, so,
Reviewed.
done. Stick a
Thanks,
fork in it.
Gary.
It's my kind of policy.
So we just have to note that in the,
Do you have enough room?
in the report to the board for minutes purposes.
Correct.
For compliance. Okay, are we getting going then to the next one?
That sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, 106, 107, 108, this is just kind of looping back around per prior discussions at this level. These are all curriculum related. And I believe the committee wanted to take one last look at, we made some of those edits that the group talked about last time to make sure we got them all right.
Yeah, there was a number of consistency edits, I think, that Karen had picked up.
The only thing I think that I would say, so the title of the policy is plan course statements. But then in most places throughout, except for like the second last paragraph, we just say statements. Should we say plan course statements and all, like in the first line, plan course statements shall be prepared for all plan, rather than just statements, because I think statements is just, people might misinterpret that, maybe.
Okay, it was, why don't we do a definitional there? You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Plan course statements, parens, statements.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fine.
So what do we do?
So plan course
Sorry.
statements, but then in parentheses, statements.
The
and then
very
refer.
first
Yeah,
reference,
okay,
will say
right.
plan course statements in paren, and then
Gotcha.
parens statements, just so we have a definition
Yeah,
for the
that's
for
good.
purposes.
That's good.
And then-
Sometimes she's a lawyer.
Yeah.
And then that second to last paragraph, are you okay with us getting rid of where it says plan course
Yeah,
statements?
and just said statement again.
Just to
Yeah,
kind of keep
yeah.
that consistent.
Consistency,
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good.
And these have gone through EPS, I mean, we've been through
Right,
these a number
right.
of times. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
That second to last paragraph. The last sentence.
Should we assume that only this,
Teachers shall have planned courses for each course. Yeah, some.
so it should probably say statements. Teachers shall have statements for each course which they teach.
Where's that?
In that second to last paragraph.
It says guys, you should
Oh,
have
the message.
statements there too.
Yeah, and then the last
The last
sentence is
paragraph.
just, yeah, it's weird. It should be assumed that all courses are studied or
Represented by
guides on
statements.
file, right? Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Teachers shall have planned courses for each course which they teach. Tina, did you get that? Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great.
There's nothing other, there's no other.
Statements for each course they teach. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm comfortable moving these forward. The committee is comfortable.
Let me just take a quickie look here. 108, is it 108? Sorry, wrong policy. No, I don't have anything.
Even better.
No, that is better, yeah.
Okay, so let's move those on to the board.
6, 7, and 8.
Okay. 6, 7, 8, very good.
Will you keep us honest for time? I know we don't have a whole lot.
Just good.
Yep.
Alrighty, we are now at public comment on board meetings, and I think there's some changes there, Dr. O'Connell.
Yeah, so we talked about this last time we were together, and really the distinction between public comment and presentations. And I'm trying to look where. So the distinction with this is that all individuals or groups that may request inclusion on the agenda for a formal comment to the board. So that's come out. Group or organization affiliation, if applicable, time allotted. So anything that's in pink that has come out. And where you'll find it is in the green. Groups may request up to 7 minutes of time for public comment by registering their intent with the board secretary. There's no change there, Dina, as far as what time people have, but here's the difference. When the public comes to speak, it's always public comment. So presentations are reserved for those situations where a board or a district administrator would have a presentation. So they may invite somebody to come and speak. We've had solar, for example, but that would have come through buildings and grounds. We've had Farmstead, a presenter from the Farmstead, and that would have come through fiscal. So when I think of all of the board meetings that we've had when we have presentations, it's led by a board, by a district administrator. So there's no mention of it in this policy, but what we'll see in the agenda, I think we had talked about putting recognitions and presentations, and then we could put it, or like district presentations would be the change of that title. So the public still has the opportunity for the same amount of time, but we don't have to go through
The agenda worry.
the agenda, like you're in, you're out, like public comments, public comment. The board is not engaged in checking what anyone's bringing for a presentation, public comment. So the only thing that's changed is that presentations are reserved for that business that the board is interested in hearing about because it's come through a committee, and that's what it has looked like in the past. And then public comment, there's been no change to groups saying they want to come and speak. They have the same amount of time to do it. If it's on an agenda item, it'll be on the first round of public comment. If it's something unrelated to anything that the board is talking about, then it would be at the second round. And I think that just makes it clean.
So we don't even use the term presentation in this
Correct.
policy.
Right.
Right. So, okay, right. So. Okay,
So we
So
don't
nothing has
approve or
changed.
disapprove of whatever it is that they're presenting.
So
They can ask for the 7 minutes, but they have to ask for the 7 minutes.
that's right. So if they have a group that's coming to talk about who knows what, whatever, then they would follow the same process they've needed to follow before, but it wouldn't be considered a presentation. It's just you have additional time for your public
For
comment.
7 minutes.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
I
So no
think that's a
change.
good direction of travel, that it
just
removes an arbitrary distinction that I know I've struggled with, I know you've struggled with.
Yeah.
Presentations are district presentations. We still preserve that idea of a group comment, which I think we wanted, because no good deed goes unpunished, but it's a whole lot cleaner. The only perhaps slightly traumatic response I have here is, what if the topic is not the topic? Do we need an extra sentence that says the board reserves the right to limit the group to 3 minutes if the presentation, that's a little comment directed, content directed, so it's a little tricky, but I mean, the reality is, honestly, if you've got 4 minutes to figure out whether the person's going left or right, it is extraordinarily hard in that moment to even come up with the wherewithal to do that. And they still have the right to the 3 minutes.
Can I
And then
ask,
arguably would just splinter into 16 3-minute presentations anyway.
is this typical? I mean, do all districts have this in their policy?
Which
Why do-
part?
The 7 minutes.
I think 7 minutes is, I think it's pretty common. I mean, if
Is
a
it?
group is coming and they want to present on, I don't know, whatever, and they need more than 3 minutes to do it. Like, they want to talk about, I'm trying to think of examples. I mean, Haycock came years ago, and they needed more than 3, I mean, they did a presentation on joining the district. I'm trying to think of other longer,
Cell towers were good.
cell tower at Springfield.
That wasn't really a presentation, was it?
Well,
That
no,
was
but
a
that's what
public
we're
comment.
saying.
Public
Yeah.
comment.
It
Public
was,
comment.
someone concerned about it.
Yeah.
Just sitting through 7 minutes is really hard.
I think you
Just
can
tell.
give you the buzzer.
Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, it could be, is 5 also typical? Or is 7 like the
I
PSBA
don't know.
standard?
I don't know.
It's up to
Your
you.
policy,
It's-
I think you
It is
can
your
make it.
policy,
It's-
you're providing
yeah.
public comment.
It's so
in two
rarely
locations.
used that I figure 7 minutes, I mean, honestly, you've been on the board for a while, and there's only been, I could probably count them on one hand.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen.
Of course, it's been.
Yeah.
It's
But-
few and far
I think it's
between, I guess.
But when it
that's-
happens, it's.
But sometimes, well, they should be using their time for good, right? The cell phone, keep going back to the cell phone parents, and I think we
Yeah,
used
that's what I
7
thought
minutes.
of, Yeah.
I don't know that it was
That-
7
yeah.
minutes at the time, but when they were closing Tinicum, we had a little survey and.
Yeah.
I mean, the
There will
heart
be
is
issues.
there, like, let's not all say the same thing, let's do 7 minutes altogether, which makes a whole lot of sense.
It's
Yeah.
that, oh,
Yeah,
now
it
that's
actually
different.
saves the time.
That's
That's
what
what
this
you're
is.
saying.
Oh,
That's
that
what-
is
Yeah,
what this is.
That's what's that's the intent,
A total of 7 minutes.
correct,
Yes.
but we
Okay.
don't,
Okay.
It's not 7 minutes per speaker.
Right.
Oh,
So this
oh,
is a group.
okay, then,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
yeah, I mean, though we can't enforce, I mean, if somebody comes next, it's hard
So
to.
somewhere in the policy, we can cut them off if the comments are inappropriate.
There is a, yes, there's been a
It's not in
section.
here, but I know.
It is,
Yeah.
it's
Send the
above
district solicitor,
guidelines.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Dina, if you could scroll
Oh,
above,
sorry.
above guidelines, those are yep, I'm sorry, that's it, yep.
Yeah.
Sexual harassment, confidential information,
Yeah.
yeah, yep,
Okay, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I misunderstood that.
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I like this. I don't know how we didn't come up with it last time, but we were spinning an absurdity, and I think this is just a clean.
Great.
My only other question is on the, page 2, under guidelines, sign in or request a comment, we have all the pink.
Yep.
But then we say in the second one, submit the document electronically to the board secretary. Okay, now we're saying by 3:30 on the day of the board meeting.
So this is if you want 3 minutes, this is just
That's
a
right.
regular,
So there are some districts who do let people sign up right there at the meeting when they come in. I do like that. I know that the board has done this for a long time, which is so kind and nice. I'm not gonna be kind and nice, but then going around to let anybody who didn't sign up, if they wanna speak, I just do not like that. And only because when you get into topics that are rough, and a lot of people come, I'd rather have a process like this. So if we're gonna do the 3:30 on the day of the board meeting, which means no sign up when they come in, right? Okay, so then we, I guess, have to decide, are we gonna continue to do that? Hey, anybody else wanna say anything?
so nobody says anything for the first round of.
Not for first round, for
Right.
second.
I sometimes I feel though, and I completely understand what you're saying. Sometimes I feel something may come up in the course of the meeting, either a
That
vote
just
or,
came
that
up,
just
that you
came up.
never
and-
would have thought to like put something into.
Or someone says like,
That's true.
I really appreciate the board taking action on this, it was really important to me that this like that,
Right,
I have to say that
That's true.
it works.
that is true.
It is both a sword and a shield, because there are times where, you know, you really, like, you're looking, and I try to cut it off right before, like, somebody's like, oh, yeah, you know, but I do it because sometimes when somebody gets up there, even a plan statement, then someone will react in a good way, in a way that the board necessarily, you know, Joanne Allen's a great example of sometimes that counter that
Yeah.
counter voice
Yeah.
that would have never signed up because of the first voice. So there is a bit of a balancing act. I try to remain consistent.
Yeah.
I personally, as chair, believe that getting them to come out with it and just get it over
Just
with
get there
is better
helpful.
than to fester. But look, if the board doesn't want that moving forward, we have the authority to not do that.
I mean,
But
it makes
honestly,
sense
when
what you
somebody
said.
takes the time to show up.
I just, when topics get.
Yeah, oh,
I
it's
know.
not
And
fun.
again,
I
it's
know, I
not that I don't wanna hear
can see
from
them
people, it's
thinking,
not that I
yeah.
don't- I mean,
I can't really think of any other time other than COVID that
It
things
was
got
that,
out of
yeah,
hand in my
yeah.
26 years here.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I would say
And that-
too, I think I still appreciate when people sign up, even for the second round of
Yeah.
public comment, because they speak first. And then if you see a lot of, you do have in policy, the second public comment period may be limited to not more than 30 minutes. So,
Oh, do we do have that? Where is that? Is
That's-
that down
yeah,
further?
no,
I forgot.
it's right above the green here.
Okay.
So you have.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
You have the authority
That
to
we can say, right.
Time out.
These people signed up
They
and now we're
signed
gonna
up.
hear a few more
Looks like
people
we
and,
have
okay,
time
yep,
for
okay, got it.
10 more minutes. So anyone else?
Makes sense.
And if there's not 10 more minutes, if you've gone to 30, you can certainly
Cut it off.
can say that.
And that's why we stopped doing it in the room, because we were trying to allot in the most democratic way. So, some of those co-med meetings went hours and hours, and we were trying to make sure people got heard, but we didn't want to go overboard. So it is a way to gauge, like, 50 people are coming, let's, grab a drink, we're going in, or.
That makes sense.
So it is help, Dina lets me know what the signups look like, because then I know what we're looking at.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
it certainly makes me feel better. It's not a screener. It doesn't, you can't do anything with that information other than brace yourself and allot the time. I personally find it helpful, but that is not how we have to do it.
But the first comment section can be an hour,
Can be limited to an hour.
can be limited to an hour, so
Sure.
it can be an hour.
Well, sure. Yeah, there could be topics that go to an hour.
And
There
that'll
are
have to be
districts
on the
that have
agenda,
had
right?
We're pretty lucky here.
Yeah, we are.
longer than an hour. But you, by policy, have the authority to limit to an hour. Now, that would be tricky during the first round before you voted, because they want to speak to you about something you're
Right.
taking
Or the
action
agenda.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is not par for the course here, so.
And I believe the electronic way is how most districts are now doing it. When I go to the board secretary meetings,
You mean like the time?
the electronic sign up.
Submission.
Oh,
Anybody's
got it.
doing
Yeah,
their sign up
Yes, okay.
at the location.
Got it.
I mean, I'm sure there are, but most are
Got it.
doing electronic, so they can see how much time they're gonna need.
Yeah, and so you have the correct spelling of their name and their.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
That's always
Okay.
a moving target. I'm happy with this. Great. Until the next time we bring it back up. Okay. All right, no more on 903. Okay, let's keep moving.
All right, let's take a look at emergency preparedness response then.
Nope.
And it just has some language in here that gives the superintendent the authority to order, to make purchases for services in emergency situations. It's on page 2 of 6.
So would somebody try to give me an example of what that might be?
Sure, so, we could, let's think of, I don't know, Hurricane Sandy, that we were closed down and open for a shelter for many days, almost a week, I guess, and we had resources coming in, but there may have been food stores that now that wouldn't necessarily have been a purchase, but we may have had food stores that we used, we needed water, we did have donations of water, but there's, in an emergency situation, there are all sorts of, there could be something that failed, some piece of equipment that failed, that needs to be repaired
Like
sooner
to get
than
an
later.
external generator here.
We did get an external generator
That was
coming in,
FEMA.
it was FEMA, so just think of every type of emergency that could impact
Uh-huh.
a district and what would need to be put in place. the board would have an opportunity to vote on that, that would be, I mean, it would be this is sort of like pre-authorization in the event of an emergency to purchase what may be necessary to either reopen school or whatever the case may be.
Okay,
And this isn't replacing anything, so there wasn't anything previous to this.
this was just
Yeah.
additional.
This,
was added.
we just created a new EOP, our
Yeah.
emergency operations plan, and that was wording within the plan.
Oh,
And we
okay.
wanted to make sure that it was in policy so that that ever should happen, that we would.
Okay. So would there be any limits around any of that, or this would be just situation by situation? Just, I mean, I don't know, you know what I mean?
I get, yeah, I know, I'm trying to think of what we certainly could,
I don't know, I'm just,
I think what's more important than the limit, because, you know,
like all this, I'm just running through all of the things that could,
yeah,
yeah, the chiller.
right.
I have a thing with the chiller, because I thought it was a refrigerator. It was my first board meeting, you told me what the chiller was. I would just add, and the superintendent will advise, or I don't even know that it's, I would expect the superintendent to give me a call as soon as practicable thereafter. You know, if that's, and that's usually what happens in an emergency, is that Bridget's taking care of the emergency, and the minute she has a minute that does not distract her from the emergency, she calls me to tell me that there's an emergency.
and I can say too, like, one of the other pieces here is that, you know, I'm thinking of equipment that may fail or something that may be needed. Another piece of this is outside services. So, you know, I think from a
Right.
technology standpoint, if there's, and I know, you know, I don't,
Fiber down. or
I-
whatever.
that, like, there can be a whole host of things that happen that we need to call in, support to address as quickly as possible,
Mhm.
without giving them any ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all, I was
Okay.
just curious,
Yep.
just trying to wrap my head around what all of this might mean, that's all, okay?
Hopefully we don't need to use it.
Amen.
Committee's okay moving that along?
Yes, that's
Okay, all right, moved along.
Okay, we are now moving on to exemption from instruction 105.2.
This is where you'll need this copy.
Yep, the one that Dean, not the one in the packet, but the one that she handed out,
This
the
one.
2-pager with all the new
Yep.
information on it.
Sorry about that.
And this is a result, you might be saying, well, why is this coming to us? Exemption from instruction was updated primarily to address recent court actions regarding parental rights. Okay. I'm not gonna read the whole thing to you, but it was some court action and rights there.
Well, I'll just say the additional piece there that looks like we need to either decide to check it or not check it was actually my question on the one that was in here, as far as the notices and how far ahead, you know, can parents see the instructional piece of it and what's being taught. So this one that says about developing the procedures to implement this, that would include directives to staff to provide reasonable and realistic advance notice. I appreciated being there, so.
Yeah, and I think that's something we'd have to check as a policy team here, if we wanted to do that. Right, those brackets are typically the optionality, but we can have that discussion in a second. That's dissection. Yeah, because the dissection is 3 weeks, which is a lot, I think, for purposes of this.
How does this relate to our special needs students? Somebody that's over 18 and still, but not. You know, I presume the kind of card is what this says it would have to be a student if they're over 18.
Can't hear you. Speak up.
A special needs student is 18 plus.
students themselves when the student is 18 or older.
Good question. I wonder if,
I'm sure it'll be in there, IUP, whatever, but
yeah, I was thinking, would there be a place for in the IEP who would make those decisions if you're staying past 18? I think it'd probably be a new question,
Yeah.
but my thought, like, that's my initial thought is would be probably tied to the IEP. I'm sorry, Jim?
I would think it'd be the parent or guardian's responsibility at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
This doesn't address that.
Yeah.
And I can-
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think that is a good point, especially if we're checking the box about notice, because that notice would go to the student unless it has to go to the parent. But there's capacity issues that Lou's team would have to sort out. So maybe we can ask Lou that question.
What's that?
I feel like that would be in an IEP.
I think so, but I'm not sure, so I say let's be safe and
Yeah.
get an answer for the committee to have all the information and bring it back to you.
Yeah. How's the committee? I think we know how Linda feels about that optionality paragraph. I'm generally comfortable with it, to give Bridget the opportunity to develop procedures around how advance notice would work.
I wonder what the rationale was for putting the word sincerely held and moral beliefs in there.
Moral's a new one. Sincerely held is in a lot of the vaccine
Is it?
laws. Yeah,
Oh,
so the
interesting.
vaccine exemptions in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, the sincerely held beliefs is a thing. It's a term of art.
Interesting.
Moral is new and a little loosier, goosier. I don't mean that in a bad way, it's just for it to, could mean anything or nothing.
You see if there's anything here that can give us any,
Well, yeah, that kind of takes me to number 4, though, as far as the request. Now, number 1 also mentions about including reasons for the request. And then number 4 also states the written request must contain a statement with specific instruction to describe conflicts with the beliefs. I mean,
What does that mean?
yeah, what does that mean?
My guess would be they just say, due to my religious beliefs, I would think, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think the concern there is less about the beliefs themselves and more about people abusing it to get out of something that they don't want to do.
And maybe that's the sincerely held. is,
Yeah, I don't think
Maybe
it's
that's
worrying, I don't think the judgment is whether it's sincerely held or not. I think the judgment is, are they making, Sylvia doesn't want to handwrite because she doesn't believe in pencil, like. Strong, I actually love pencils.
Yeah.
But I think that's where they're going,
Okay.
but.
I think Karen kind of mentioned sincerely held religious beliefs, like what's really dear and meaningful.
I guess.
Yeah.
But how do you measure that? I mean,
Yeah,
as
I
a
mean-
school, we're not gonna
Not
measure that.
easily.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm
Right, yeah.
thinking, like, you can't say
Right,
no
no,
anyway,
right,
right? So,
Yeah.
Right.
but, okay.
Yeah,
That's why I
and
thought,
that's-
that's why I thought it was
Maybe
interesting.
that's why they
putting
put
those
that
words in
language
there.
in board policy, when somebody reads it.
Yeah,
they-
maybe.
They think it's very, very.
Right, maybe.
Yeah. And I think that's gonna make the notification challenging, right? Because we need to judge with our lenses what is potentially offensive from somebody else's lens, which is a nearly impossible exercise. I mean, there's some obviously, sex ed is an easy one, but there's gonna be some gray lines in there. And that's where Bridget's regulations come in. I got it. So I think you just have to figure it out. But I assume schools are all gonna be wrestling with this and hopefully some.
So the exemption from dissection activities, so if a student doesn't want to have to dissect an animal in biology, they don't have to? That's not fair. I had to.
Me too. I just knew it was sincerely held.
That's right.
belief.
Has this always been in place, or like, is this this is new?
The dissection is new.
That's new, yeah, that's
For
new.
some reason though, I thought that's gonna, like, kids could get out of this section.
I feel like
feel
every
like
once in a while we
that's-
do have a student
yeah.
that
feel like that's been around in some way, shape, or
What's
form.
that?
I definitely would have done it if I could.
Yeah, we work with kids, I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
right,
I
right,
feel
Right.
on
Yeah.
occasion.
I mean, if they're gonna pass out.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
My son would pass out in health class every time we talked about blood. We thought he was making it up, but then I saw it happen.
My son cracks me up, and we did not know this until just about 3 years ago. He's fine with the animal, but not if it's person. So his son comes to him with a bloody nose, and he passes out on him.
I'm the opposite. I'm fine with people, not with animals. Right, Jim?
What's wrong with
I
I can't take it on
That's
that.
Jim's farm is gonna be the alternative exercise.
All right, moving on.
All right, 6:04,
So that one you're gonna
6:04
check on with Lou and then
We
bring back.
need to bring it back.
Okay.
To talk with Lou about the 18.
Yeah, did we decide on if that second part is being?
I think we are checking it, yes.
Okay.
Weapons. Nope, attendance?
Looks like attendance is the next one in our packets. If you go to page 5, this is some language that prevents a student who is a truancy issue with habitual attendance problems from transferring to a cyber charter school.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Avoidance. So it's really not allowing them to avoid school by going to a different school where they don't have to go. And then we pay lots of money for them to go there.
Wow.
And the cyber charters have to follow that too, right? Like,
They should look into the attendance.
would they?
That's what I would think.
I would guess, I don't
would
know.
think.
We'll see how it plays out. This is new, it just came through.
Interesting, okay.
I think it's a really good move. I think it's
Yeah,
a great
yeah.
move for kids.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that,
Yeah.
the addition.
Okay, this is the one that I have a note on. Can somebody explain the end note? What does that mean? So it says about remove language on withholding of credit or automatic grade deductions for students with unexcused or illegal absences. How can you give credits or withhold credits? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. If somebody is not there, how are they getting anything done to get credit for?
Sure, I can give you an example that kind of used to exist in this district. If somebody was absent more than like 10 days from a class, regardless of what grade they got, they would get a credit denial. I mean, we're going back like 20 years. We're going back like 20 years. So theoretically, somebody could miss a class 10 times,
Yeah,
get a grade of a B because they're just a good student, they caught up on all the work, but because they missed 10 class days, they get a credit denial. I think that's what it's saying,
I see.
right?
So, but do we have anything like that in policy? We didn't have anything like that in policy anyway. So this is just there for anybody that may have had that in there. Okay, thank you.
We've had that
You're easy tonight,
gone
Linda,
for a
all
long
right.
time too, that's been out of our policy for a long time.
Yeah,
Okay, okay,
that would be a disaster.
It was,
okay,
'cause, yeah. It
That's like
was.
one vacation that you pull the, ooh.
yeah,
And if a student makes the work up,
If they show mastery in the topic, yeah.
yeah, okay. Thank you.
Weapons.
Okay,
Near and dear to our
Move-
hearts.
move- just to be, we're gonna move that one on, everybody okay moving on? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. This one, just captures the new, requirement for notification, of a weapon.
Have we gotten much feedback on those?
None.
Yeah, so they go out and they're, okay. We're already desensitized to them.
Yeah.
Okay. So interesting, gun-free school zone act was found unconstitutional.
so what does that mean?
So you
It says
can't,
to
you
change
can't
the
have
language.
signs up that say gun-free school zone, probably. You wouldn't say, it has to stay in accordance with federal law. I don't know. I'm guessing, I don't know.
Change it. So I
It's
mean-
a Second Amendment thing.
is this supposed to be in the policy that it would have stated a gun-free zone?
Yeah, that's been a while.
But it wasn't in this, right?
No,
No.
So these are PSBA notes.
Right, okay.
Yeah, there was probably some federal state law conflict between gun rights at the state level and a federal act. So I don't know, not my area, but
Okay.
nothing we necessarily need to worry about or have in there.
Are we good moving this one forward? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Um, So this one, 805.1, talks about relations with law enforcement agencies. As you can see on page 2, a procedure for timely coordination of district court assessment team and law enforcement agencies that they included. We've been doing this since the assessment became mandated, having worked with our local and our state police as a part of our threat assessment team, district-wide team.
Yeah,
So we're just capturing that as per the
that
requirements.
makes sense.
Yep. Already done, great.
Excellent. Alrighty, now it looks like we have one more in our packet here.
Wow. we are
Well done,
impressive
team.
today.
Even with talking about blood.
Now,
And again, the recommended changes are on page 2. And this is just some requirements, it looks like, for a school security officer.
Okay, so on that number 4, when it says, meet with school employees annually to seek their input on the mandatory school safety and security training. What kind of input are we looking for? When I looked at that number 13, I just saw about requiring annual training, but I don't think I saw the word about input. So seeking input, where did that come from?
So it just, let me read what I was given by PSBA
Okay.
here to kind of just give a little bit more information.
Uh-huh.
It says policy 805.2 was updated to expand upon the responsibilities of the school safety and security coordinator based on amendments made to the Pennsylvania School Code.
Okay.
And if my memory serves me correctly, we're not really talking about the security officer, we're talking about Dr. O'Connell, her
Correct.
role as
Yep.
the safety
Coordinator.
coordinator.
Yep.
Not quite sure where the legislature was going with that one, but
But what does it mean to seek their input on the?
Just get
mandatory-
feedback. Do
I
you
was
need
gonna
any
say,
more training
that's
on
right, was this
something? How do you
helpful?
feel
Was this,
about
yeah.
addressing students
We're
that
all on
are
it.
having concerns, you know?
on a scale from 1 to 5, how effective was today's meeting?
Okay, that's.
I'm
that's what I
curious
wanted.
as to why the legislature spent their time on that.
Right, right.
Sure. Are we at the back of the packet? All right, fine with that.
The R&D.
Okay, and I think we're at time.
30612.
Dina, quickly before, because I know I owe you some feedback, we have some more to get through. How are we doing policy-wise for?
Next month, I think we'll cover some fiscal policies. We'll go through that. And I'm
Okay.
hoping, so that's March. Then April, I'm hoping that maybe we'll be ready for the Title IX stuff that we've just been
The specter of
kicking and kicking. And that's what I have.
Okay, all right. If you, as we get into the spring, do let us know if we need to add a session at the end to
I
kind
mean,
of
we
catch
do
in.
know we have maintenance reviews, a lot of maintenance reviews to do, so that's
So
gonna be
maybe
however
let's-
you wanna handle it.
Why don't you and I take a look at the calendar as we get to warmer days and see if we can't do, I think what was effective last time was a dedicated.
Yeah.
We're not doing any other policies
Yeah.
other than working through
Yeah.
the maintenance review.
Yep.
So maybe we need one of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good, thank you.
I do think that before you guys got here, I did say yes on everything, right? Didn't I? Didn't I? Right?
As we look back at what happened in the last
So
47
we're
minutes,
gonna just end the meeting right there.
I would say you were probably
My
90%
crystal ball
of
is
the yeses that
working.
came
There we
through
go.
tonight. Yes, there was only 1 or 2 policies we're bringing back, but the rest of them were yeses, so, I don't know.
Don't get used to it, Rich.
Are we
Very
done?
good.
We're done.